Have you seen the little character and animal meringues people float in their coffee? Do you want to learn how to make them but don't know where to start? I went from zero experience to making hundreds of these little guys every week to sell at my local farmer's market. And now I want to share my tried and true meringue recipe and techniques with you. You can make detailed meringues with both the Swiss method and the Italian method. I prefer Italian meringue because it gives me more consistent results, so that's the recipe I'm going to walk you through today. To start, you'll need 130 grams of egg whites, 260 grams of granulated sugar, a half a teaspoon of cream of tartar for the egg whites, a pinch of cream of tartar for the sugar syrup, 77 grams of water, and 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. In a small saucepan, I combine the sugar and a pinch of cream of tartar. Then I add 77 grams of water and stir until all the sugar is moistened. I wash the sides of the pan with a pastry brush and water to prevent the grains of sugar on the sides from crystallizing during cooking. Then I clip a candy thermometer to the side of the pan and turn the heat to medium. Meanwhile, I add my egg whites and a half teaspoon of cream of tartar to the bowl of my stand mixer. When the sugar syrup reaches about 235 degrees Fahrenheit, I turn my stand mixer on and start whipping my egg whites. I use speed 8 on my KitchenAid. I want to time it so that my egg whites are foamy like bubble bath at the same time my sugar syrup reaches its target temperature of 240 degrees Fahrenheit. Then I slowly pour in my syrup, aiming where the egg whites touch the side of the bowl. Next, I add my vanilla extract. Usually, I like to do this at the soft peak stage, but it turns out just fine when I add it earlier too. If you don't like vanilla, you can substitute any other extract or emulsion of your choice. When my meringue gets to the soft peak stage, I like to pause mixing and reserve some of the softer meringue for details I want to be really smooth, like the eyes, noses, and mouths. Then I get back to whipping to medium or even firm peaks for the more structural elements of the meringues, like the bodies, limbs, ears, and so on. Since I'm making chickens, I'm setting some of the meringue at this stage aside for beaks, combs, and wattles. Now, I'll put the main meringue color that I'm using for the body of my chickens into a pastry bag fitted with a coupler and piping tip. Here, I'm using the equivalent of a Wilton No. 12 round piping tip. Next, I put my pastry bag in a tall glass so it's easier to scoop the meringue into the bag. I like to make sure to leave some room in the bag so that I can twist it closed and hold it comfortably. I use a bowl scraper to push out all the air so the bag doesn't burp while I'm piping. Now I'm going to color the meringue I reserved for the details. I stir in a few drops of a gel-based food coloring like Chef Master or Wilton. I never use a liquid food coloring as it can change the consistency of the meringue and make it too difficult to work with. Instead of using a coupler and piping tip, I snip the tip of a disposable pastry bag to my desired size, then I scoop the meringue I'm using for the small details into the bag. Then I use my bowl scraper to push the meringue towards the tip of the bag. Sometimes I have to squeeze the tips of the bags to force the air out before I can push the meringue all the way through. Now for the fun part, piping a whole lot of meringues. I'm going to demonstrate with chickens because they're a great design for beginners. For the bodies, I squeeze the bag with continuous pressure as if I'm piping a kiss. Then, as I get towards the top of the meringue, I ease off pressure and use a swirling or flicking motion to prevent a peak from forming. For the beaks, I pipe a dot, then ease off pressure, and with the tip of the bag still touching the meringue, pull the bag towards myself to form a peak. For the wattles, I use a small amount of pressure right below the beaks, then increase pressure just a little bit as I move the bag down to create a teardrop shape. For the combs, I pipe 3 little circles in a row. The technique here is the same as I use for piping the bodies, just smaller. The eyes are just simple dots. Since the meringue I used was really soft, I didn't have to worry about any pointy bits. When you're done piping your meringues, it's time to bake them. Nowadays, I bake them in a food dehydrator at 165 degrees Fahrenheit for at least 3 hours. However, your oven will work just fine. When using my oven, I bake my meringues at 200 degrees Fahrenheit for at least 2 hours, sometimes 3 for larger meringues. When the time is up, I turn my dehydrator or oven off, and with the door closed, I leave my meringues inside to cool completely to room temperature before taking them out. They should come away from the parchment paper or silicone baking mat cleanly and easily. They should be light, crisp, crunchy, and melt on your tongue. Immediately transfer them to an airtight container so that they don't get sticky from the humidity in the air. Now you're ready to make character and animal meringues of your own. I hope you give this recipe a try soon, and if you do, consider tagging me in your creations. I'd love to see what you make. And to learn more meringue techniques, check out this playlist next.